Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll talk more about the basic, escalating and standard plan for CPF Life. I've been getting a lot of questions regarding, which plan is better than which, what's the benefits of one plan over another. I've also been hearing a lot of different opinions about the different plans. And now that there is a bit of a difference in the calculators that the CPF Life gave us versus a couple of years ago, I thought I'll break down a little bit on the different plans between basic, escalating and standard, the different payouts, the different bequest portion or death benefit portion for the basic versus standard and escalating plan. I'll also discuss more about why I feel basic plan would be the best plan for me and the difference between standard and escalating and why I believe if you were to choose one, maybe the standard plan might be better. Okay, and again, a couple of slides here I created just for this. So basically the basic, escalating and standard CPF Life plans. Short disclaimer here, of course, this is for information and education purposes only. This is not financial advice. Please speak to a financial advice for your own catered needs. So basically what I'm trying to project out is if you are 55 today, how much you're going to receive at 65 years old, right? So the different plans are over here, the basic, standard and escalating plan. As you can see, of course, how the basic plan works is it's a fixed amount of payouts, and then at the end of it, I believe age 90, when you run out of your RA balance, the CPF Life annuity plan will kick in. You get a standard $1,480 per month after age 90. As for the standard plan, it's a little bit higher than the basic plan for the monthly payouts. So at age 65, you get $1,700, and then you just get it for life basically up until you pass away. Next, it's the escalating plan. The escalating plan is slightly similar to the standard plan, but at the start of it, you get about 20% lower in monthly payouts. So you get $1,340 versus $1,700 for the standard plan. Why is it different? Is because in the escalating plan, your monthly payout grows by 2% every year. So at 65, you get $1,340, but at 85, you get $2,000, and at 95 is $2,440. So yep, here is the different plans, the escalating, standard and basic, exactly what I've spoken about. There's an article that CPF Life created. It's a good one. I'll link it in the description below. So I'd like to explain a little bit more about the basic plan. So I'd like to touch on the difference between the basic plan versus the standard and escalating and how I got about to my projections for the basic plan. So for the basic plan, it's a little bit different where 80 to 90% of your retirement account savings will be directly used to provide payouts until age 90. And the remaining 10 to 20% will be deducted as your CPF Life premium when you join CPF Life. So this is different from the standard and escalating plan where 100% of premiums are used to buy the CPF Life annuity. And CPF Basic works where 80 to 90% goes to your RA account, 10% goes to the CPF Life premiums on age 65. So that happens when you are 65 years old. And there's a key difference for this is because of the bequest amount. So the bequest amount will be vastly different versus the standard and escalating plan because the basic plan has this RA component and the RA continues to grow even after you're 65 years old. However, for the standard and escalating plan, this is not the case because at 65 years old, you are already drawing down your full RA and it goes to the CPF Life annuity. So the only bequest that you get in the standard and escalating plan is if you pass before a certain age range and before you get X amount of dollars of your CPF Life annual monthly payouts that equate to the RA balance at age 65. For example, if your RA balance is $200,000 in age 65 for your, let's say, CPF Standard and CPF Life escalating plan. So at age 66, if you do pass away, you have $100,000 at 65 that goes into your standard and escalating plan. But let's say you only receive $10,000, right, at age 65, but you pass away at age 66. What will happen is that you get a bequest amount of $90,000 because that's $100,000 minus $10,000 for the escalating and standard plans. That's a rough explanation of how the bequest works, but for CPF Basic, how it works is at age, let's say 65, you got $100,000 again. However, for the CPF Basic plan, it's different where you can see it in my projections, but basically the $100,000 goes into your RA. It continues to gain interest from age 65 to 66. So in the CPF Life Basic plan, you just get whatever that's left over in your RA account. And in that addition to the 10% that you paid into CPF Life, but you have not withdrawn it because you're not 90 years old. So this is a brief explainer on the different plans for basic, standard, and escalating. For payouts, basic is lower, standard is higher, and escalating is a hybrid. It starts out low but ends up as the highest one. For the bequest, basic most of the time will be the highest amount. Standard escalating is roughly the same at the lower end. And what each plans are best for is, for the basic one, it's best for person looking for a bequest, right? Or looking to leave something over for their family when they pass on. So bequest portion is very important in the basic plan because that also affects the sort of IRR returns or internal rate of returns, as you can see later on. For the standard plan, someone should choose it if they don't want to leave a bequest. I think this is the best use case for the standard plan because it gives you higher than the basic plan's amount of monthly payouts. And for the standard plan versus the escalating plan, I think the monthly payouts are more attractive for the standard plan because it starts out higher. And I feel that if you're younger, you have more capital needs or more monetary needs for your basic lifestyle. For the escalating plan, it's for people who want to hedge against longevity risk. If you think that you live until like 1995, maybe the escalating plan would be best. If you are gonna live for until like 100 plus years old, of course the escalating plan might be the best one to choose. So it's really to hedge out longevity risk. So just to give you a quick snapshot of what the monthly payouts for the different age range, I put this out from the CPF Life calculator. So for the basic, standard and escalating plan at 65, as you can see, basic one is 1,560, standard plan is 1,700, and the escalating plan is 1,340. And this is on the current FRS, which is $213,000. So at age 65, if you put $213,000 into your RA account and you pledge it for CPF Life, of course, this is the payouts that you get. So as you can see, escalating starts out at the lowest, basic is at the middle, standards of course higher. And at age 85, the basic is still 1,560, standard is still the same 1,007, but the escalating grows to $1,000 per month. And at 95, the basic plan actually dips to $1,480, standard plan is $1,007 still, and the escalating plan grows to $2,440. And for the bequest amount for the basic, standard, escalating, this is the calculations I came up with. For the CPF Life bequest, if you pass on at 65 and you haven't withdrawn anything, everyone still gets $326,000. But at age 85, if you're on the basic plan and you pass on at age 85, you get $118,000, or your family will get $118,000, but the standard escalating, you both get $0 for your family. That's also because, like I mentioned previously, how the basic plan is structured. This is because of how the basic plan is structured, where 80 to 90% stays in your RA. So the RA continues to grow, but you still withdraw from it. However, at age 85, it still has about $118,000. This is of course in addition to the 10% CPF Life annuity that you paid at the start at age 65 for your annuity plan. But at age 95, because the basic RA account depletes at about 90 years old, there's no bequest at all for all three, the basic, standard, and escalating plan. So for this slide, it's basically what's your life expectancy if you are age 55 today. This was taken from SingStats and this was done in 2023. So if you are 55 years old, you should expect to live on average wise 84.5 years old. And that's why I'm going to project out the monthly payouts that you get from 65 to 85 years old in the next slide. So on this slide is basically the basic, standard, and escalating plan. Just a quick understanding on the different payout options that you have. So at age 55, of course, I'm expecting $213,000 into your RA. This, of course, is the FRS limit for the current 55-year-old cohort. For the basic plan, like I said, it's at age 65, you get $18,720 per year. For 20-year distribution, that's about $374,000. And at age 85, if you were to pass away, your family will get $118,000. So this is a projection. It's because the CPF Life calculator currently doesn't allow you to know how much bequest you get at 85 or when you pass away for the basic plan. So I did a basic calculation on the different amounts that you get at different life stages or different age ranges. And 85, I believe it's about $118,000. And this equates to total distribution of $492,000 or 4.09%. For the CPF standard, it's at age 65, you get $20,000 a year. For the 20-year distribution is $408,000. That bequest, of course, at 85 is $0. So the total distribution here is $411,000 with an IRR of about 3.49%. For the CPF Life escalating plan, At 65, you get $16,000, and there at 85 years old, you get $23,000 a year. So the 20-year distribution is about $390,000, and the death bequest again for 85 is $0. So one thing to take note about the escalating plan is that you only catch up to the standard plan in terms of yearly distributions at 77 years old. As you can see over here, at 77 you will get a yearly payout of 20393. So it just about catch up to the CPF Life Standard plan, where you get a $20,400 yearly payout instead. So that's why I actually prefer, if I were to choose something versus standard versus escalating plan, I would choose the standard plan, because it takes you 12 years to catch up to the standard plan if you choose the escalating plan. I think that's a little bit long, so I rather get the cash payment upfront, because you never know when you're going to pass on. So earlier distributions is a lot better. But the standard versus the basic, the difference is not much. It's $18,000 versus $20,000. So that's about $200 a month difference between the standard and basic plan. So if I were to choose, and if I was in a pretty comfortable life stage, maybe I'll just choose the $18,000 and choose the basic plan, because $200 is really not too much of a difference, I feel. An additional bequest at 85 years old for $118,000, and as you can see, the IRR is quite a bit higher for the basic plan at 4% versus a 3.49% for the standard plan. And in this slide, it's basically the projections between 55 to 85 years old, the different yearly distributions that you get. So feel free to pause and look at it. And as you can see here from the basic plan above, the death benefit calculation for the different yearly payouts. And something interesting here is the death benefit calculation for the basic plan. I projected it out from 65 all the way to 85 if you pass on. So that's the death benefit calculation if you were to pass away at that age. And the last slide here is I projected out a little bit further from 85 to 95 years old. So as you can see here, for the basic plan, at age 90, you run out of your RA balance and you go into the CPF Life for basic plan, and the payout drops to $17,760. Standard plan is still the same, it will be $20,000 a year. For the escalating plan at 90 years old, you get $26,381. So as you can see for the IRR calculator, now if you live until 95 years old, actually the standard is still superior to the escalating plan for my calculation. But of course, if you live until 100, then the escalating plan might make more sense. So that's the difference between the basic, standard and escalating plan. If you got any other questions, feel free to leave in the comments below. If not, please like and subscribe to the video, and I'll see you on the next one.